We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Neville Gallimore, Miami Dolphins defensive tackle they picked up in free agency. They actually signed a lot of defensive tackles in free agencies just to get bodies in there, because truly, like, looking at the film, they only really have one starter and sealer. I think all the other guys they signed are depth guys, which is fine because they're signing them for minimum or like slightly above minimum. That's why the Gallimore move doesn't really excite me too much, because after watching his film, I see him as more of as like a rotational one tech player, being as like, I feel like if you get him as your fourth defensive tackle, you feel good about that. But currently on the roster, he's going to have to play significant snaps. There's some things he does really well. I feel like he has a really good first step. As a pass rusher, he really only has this one move, speed to power. He can create some disruption in the pocket. And, you know, when he's playing on those limited snaps and you're going versus offensive linemen who are playing the whole game a little tired, he can catch them off guard with these types of moves. That's why I like him more as a depth guy. He plays with a high motor. He's got some good play speed. Like, he'll run and chase people down. And he can shoot gaps versus the run, too. And when he has a natural leverage advantage in the running game on like lateral runs, getting outside zone, he can win those battles. But there's other areas where he struggles. I don't think he has great body control and balance. He ends up on the ground too often. Struggles versus combo blocks, double teams, getting down blocked. Can take himself out of the play at times. So there's just, you know, a lot of negatives. He's never quite lived up to his potential as a third round pick. There are some things he does pretty well. But this is one of those moves where I'm like super excited about. Like all the other players I made videos on so far, I really think those are going to be like huge contributors. I think Gallimore will play, but I'm just like not super convinced yet. But like plays like this show me that he can play. He's basically just like a 1 and a 3 tech. I don't think you want him as like a nose 2 gapping, but he can definitely get downhill. But he's more of a 1 tech. But here as the 3, he can get some pass rushing going, getting 1-on-1 with a guard, shooting off the ball with a good explosive first step. When his pad level's low, he has good leverage. He can win the leverage battle and explode into it. Sometimes he just plays with too high a pad level. And then, or he'll try to like over adjust and get low to win leverage, and then he'll end up on the ground. And he doesn't have the ability to like be like a great athlete with body control. His change of direction isn't great either. But that's how he can win and create disruption in the passing game as like a pass rusher. And this is probably the best I've seen him like recognize a play and get lateral versus the running game. Like when he has a natural like versus outside zone, he can get lateral and make some lateral plays. I wouldn't say his lateral quickness is terrible, but sometimes he can be a little late off the snap and get cut off. But since he has the natural leverage advantage being to the side of the tackle who's trying to cut him off, he's able to get his head across and win this. So he can make like the basic plays definitely happen for you. But if he's, say, this guy was responsible, the guard was responsible for cutting him off, he would lose that battle every single time. He would get cut off pretty easily because that guy has the natural leverage advantage. But they're trying to, you know, have him climb to the next level, get the linebacker. And he's able to get past the tackle, get down the line of scrimmage, make a nice play basically in the backfield. Pretty impressive when he's able to, you know, shoot up field, just be responsible for that one gap, and has like, you know, given that natural advantage just due to positioning pre-snap. And, you know, I think that's the advantage is with the Ravens having, you know, Anthony Weaver come from there. They didn't have a lot of money put in that defensive tackle room, and they were still quite productive. So I think, you know, Weaver will do his best to get the most out of that defensive tackle room, even though they don't have, like, they might still spend, they could easily spend their first round pick or second round pick on a defensive tackle, and that player would most likely be the starter next to Steeler. But even if they don't do that, I think you could see a lot of, still disruption coming from that room. They signed a bunch of guys, and I'll definitely get to everyone else. But when Gallimore has that natural advantage, he can still make some plays. He's got some good athletic traits to his game, but then some athletic traits I don't like his fluidity and his balance ending up on the ground a little bit too often for my liking. These are all definitely his best plays. You know, this one shooting upfield, like when they get that one tech, he able to identify the puller right here. You know, they end up pulling the center, so he follows through, get into that gap. Guard kind of knocks him off balance, but you can just see him shoot up into the backfield, try to change direction, flip his hips this way. A little late to do that. He gets a little help from getting pushed by the tackle in the back to get to Zeke Elliott. He doesn't have like the most bend to, you know, corner and stuff like that. That's why he's more of an interior guy, but still able to make an impressive play just by recognizing the puller, basically following through there. I would say overall, like, his processing and instincts is like average. I don't think it's like at times it's not that great. At times it's slightly above average, like recognizing stuff like that. So I would say overall, even though it can be a bit inconsistent, is around like the average range, which is fine. And you can definitely be an NFL level talent player. That's why, you know, these players are signing next to the minimum for the most part. And this is a pretty nice play from Gallimore, even though he doesn't get involved in the tackle on this one. I like to see him just winning his one-on-one battles because he basically gets a little bit of a combo here. It's not like a true double team. When it's like a true double team, he can struggle. But he does a good job of just controlling at the point of attack versus 74, the guard, and gets down the line of scrimmage, basically staying in phase with the running back. Now that, he tries to cut this back, he's able to control him at the point of attack. It's nice to see that, where he doesn't have to just shoot up field and be a one gapper all the time. Like here, he can play as like a 1.5 gap, 2 gap type situation. Wouldn't say it's his biggest strength, but he has shown on the film that he is capable of making some types of plays in those areas. Well, in this Packers game, it was pretty inconsistent. Sometimes he took himself out of the play, sometimes he made a play. But yeah, overall, he's able to get off that block just a little bit late. You just want to see him get over a little bit quicker, but he's still able to make an impact on the play. As you can see, he has the slight leverage advantage. They're running outside zone to the left here, and he's a 2-eye, so he is just inside shade of the guard. And with that leverage advantage not being as much, like if he was a 1-tech, I think he has a good chance to make this play. But since it's a 2-eye and he's a little bit closer to this guard right here, the guard's able to get up and get out of it and actually square him up pretty well. So I don't want to see this guy square up Gallimore like this, but Gallimore is at least able to create some space and come off of it late and then help make that impact. It just happens to be like 3 or 4 yards down the field. So I want to just see him make those plays a little bit quicker. But if he is a depth guy, I'm totally okay with it. But I just feel like right now he's going to be more of that, what's it called for your team? I guess I put the same play in here twice. Him just shooting in the backfield as a 1-tech. Oh no, this is a different play. It just looked very similar to that other Patriots play. But yeah, he shoots in the backfield. They're trying, looks like they might be running a draw, but it has an RPO. Jones pulls it late and throws it out into the flat, so it's an RPO. But he really is able to catch people off guard. Like if these guys are caught slipping, he can shoot gaps. Like that's why I think he's more of a 1-tech than a nose. You play with a nose, you have to play more of as like a 2-gapper. But that 1-tech, you can shoot upfield, get into the backfield quickly. He has a good first step. He's a good linear athlete. When he has to like get super lateral or change direction, flip his hips, he can be a little bit late. But also some good hustle here too, because he chases this guy down. I mean, the tackle gets made, but he still shows effort to at least get out there, which is good. I like seeing guys that play with at least some motor, so when he does come in and play his snaps, he's at least going to go out there and play with some good effort. Those are the plays that I like to see. This play, I feel like he gets a little bit lucky, but he's able to scrape over the top. He gets involved in this like mix right here. Looks like they're, running some duo type stuff, and he's able to get back over the top, show some recognition skills here at least, because he gets caught in the crossfire here. There's all this trash, but he's able to see through it and see that, Barkley is probably going to, cut this back, and he anticipates, get over this top, stay square. That's a pretty instinctive play. Maybe he gets a little lucky and doesn't stay responsible for his gap here, because he kind of shoots down and then ends up getting moved over the top, but still ends up making a nice play. That type of stuff is important as well. This is, where we'll start to see more negatives. Just struggles with some double teams. Like here they have him as the nose, where he has to take a guy on a point of attack, square up the center, but then also gets help from the guard, and now the guard gets onto him to basically just take himself out of the play. He's trying to stay in position, and now once he's, peeked across, he gets a little over positioned when he has to move laterally like that. And then gets moved a little bit too much for my liking. It's not like he was terrible in that situation, but yeah, things that you don't want to see there. Here he gets to see him set the edge. So playing as like a 4-eye, and they're trying to block the guard block him, and he's able to set this edge, get upfield, reset the line of scrimmage. This is a good rep. I actually really like this rep. He stays square, he gets low, he gets his hands into the chest. I feel like his hands can be inconsistent at times. Now he gets his hands inside the chest. He's able to, get that outside leverage. He uses that inside hand to create space so he can stack and shed, throw him away. But now he's reset the line of scrimmage by pushing this guy a couple yards into the backfield. It forces the cutback into all of your help. Now, if they do want to work into this gap, he's able to peel off of it, make a play, but he bounces back even more, working it on to help. That type of stuff is really, really nice from Gallimore. Just showing some more as a pass rusher, really only just has that speed to power. Like, he just drops all of his body into you, has some heavy hands, but like he literally throws his head into people to try to create a push in the pocket. The ball comes out really quick, but he isn't pushing up the center back into Jordan Love fairly quickly, which is nice to see. Those are the types of situations where he wins as a pass rusher. Doesn't have the greatest bend. Like sometimes he can shoot upfield. Like he gets upfield pretty explosive. This shows him off pretty well. Even tries, hit like a little bit of a chop there. And now he's in a, like, not even a terrible position, but sometimes he just pushes us too far upfield. You got to know where you are in the pocket. And he doesn't have the athleticism to like bend and corner this back to the quarterback. Kind of just takes himself out of the play naturally. So it shows, the initial strengths to his game with that explosiveness, and then, at least giving you something there. But if he's not going to, create just like a push into the pocket with that speed to power, he will sometimes take himself out of the plays because he doesn't have enough like bend in that lower half, the flexion to get to the quarterback by winning in those types of situations. He doesn't have that type of athletic trait, at least. Um, this is probably the best play he made against a double team. Like truly, getting double teams gets pushed back, gives up some yards. He's able to get a 1-on-1 at the end. He strains so much, he does end up the ground. He ends up on the ground a lot, but he's at least able to still get involved in the play. Overall, not a terrible rep versus a combo, but he usually ends up losing these. Even though this one he ends up winning, he still would like to see him maybe stay on his feet a little bit more. But at least he's straining, fighting, trying to get involved. That's the kind of thing that you want to see. Another example of him ending up on the ground just happens a little bit too often on the film. Getting help from the lower half. I feel like he doesn't have great like balance and core strength. When a guy attacks to your low hip, that's why he struggles versus combo blocks in the running game too. Because when someone attacks his low hip and he gets this high pie level, he's going to end up on the ground every single time because he doesn't have that contact balance, that body control. Which basically takes himself out of there. And I would like to see him be better on like twists and stunts. I feel like as the crash guy or the loop guy, he didn't show a ton on film in that area either. So definitely some things I want to see, more from him. But got to show what I saw in the film. With the defensive tackles, I'll get to everyone else too, like Benito Jones, Jonathan Harris. I think I'm going to do Anthony Walker next, the linebacker that they signed, who actually I did like the film that I watched on him. I think he actually can bring some cool stuff. But the defensive tackles, they all have their different strengths, weaknesses. Gallimore, I like him as a depth option, but if he has to play like a lot of significant snaps, I would be a little bit worried. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.